Evening, call to order the Town of St. John Plan Commission regular meeting for May 21st, 2025. Would invite all that are able to stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Abbott, can we get the roll call, please?
Joe Gomez-Stagel.
Here.
Rudy Bampick is currently absent. John Gill.
Here.
Russ Vogel.
Here.
Justin Nestor.
Present.
Colin Entway.
Present.
Ashley Abernathy present. Adam Decker.
Here.
John Dykstra.
Here.
Bill Manasopoulos.
Here.
We have a quorum. Agenda item number 4, minutes. First up is item A, April 16, 2025, public session minutes. I assume everybody's had a chance to review them. Any questions, comments? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the April 16th, 2025 public session meeting minutes as posted.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Gill, second by Mr. Vogel. All in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 6-0. Item B, May 7th, 2025, study session minutes. Questions, comments? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve May 7, 2025 study session minutes.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Gill, motion by Mr. Vogel, second by Mr. Emschway. All in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those are approved as well. Agenda item number 5, public hearing, 2025-10 Park West, petition to amend the zoning map of the St. John, Indiana Plan Commission's jurisdictional area by reclassifying from C2 district to PUD district located at Calumet Avenue and approximately 193.5 feet south of 101st Avenue. Mr. Kill, good evening.
Good evening, everybody. I think that Ashley will verify that all the proofs of publication are in order tonight, so if she would, we can proceed, I believe. This was previously brought in front of everybody at a couple study sessions, just to give you a little recap on where everything's at. Basically, in the southwest quadrant of 101st and Calumet, just south of Providence Bank, just north of Greystone, across the street from the commercial and the residential that is being done by Brad Lambert. St. John Commons is what it's commonly known as. So this project encompasses not to exceed number of 160 townhomes. There will be 2 builders in here. It will be Blackburn Builders and will be McFarland Homes. They're coming up with, they have custom designs for their units. They're subject to obviously approval of the town council, but those have been provided to you in your packet. There is also a lot that will be fully improved and developed for a fire station that will be deeded to the town. As this area of town on this side of 41 gets more and more crowded, there has to be made room somewhere for a fire station future, and that would be at the discretion of the town. Again, we've been looking, we've talked to Brad Lambert, we know how we're going to loop all the water mains. I've talked to Public Works about all this. We've talked to our adjacent property owners. What we are seeking here tonight is obviously a favorable recommendation to the town council for a zone change from C2 to planned unit development that will include obviously the lot for the future fire station.
Okay. Questions, comments, anyone? There being none, Mr. Kill, you can have a seat. With that, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing for 2025-10 Park West. At this point, would invite any members of the public who would like to come up and speak either for or against this proposal to come on up. Just need your name and address for the record. First call.
Hi, I was here last time for the Gates of St. John, whatever it is. My name's Linda Kalina. I live at 7522 West 91st Place, which I have Crown Point. You guys took us over in '09. I see you guys are building up every single space in St. John, haven't done road improvements at all, which I see you're now going to put a roundabout in at 231. I mean, that should have been in long time ago before the gates of St. John went in. Also, too, back to the schools. Yes, you were right about the high school, but not the elementaries. They are redistricting all the schools because they are crowded, overcrowded. Again, the state has took $12 million from them. I saw one of my daughter's old teachers from the high school last Sunday, and she said as of right now, they are not hiring any teachers, any paras, any aides, any staff, janitors, or nothing. If somebody quits or, retires, they do not have the funds to hire anybody as of right now. And I asked her, how's that going to work with everything that's going on with the building? She's like, I don't know. And I've said before, since now they can't hire, they don't have the money, you guys are still building. Where are these kids going to go? Are there going to be 40, 45 kids in a classroom? They're not even going to get aides or teachers because Lake Central doesn't have it. I don't know if St. John's going to provide the extra funds or, it's a gridlock over there in 231. My husband and I went past there. I had to go bring my sewing machine to get fixed. I couldn't believe everything that's being built up again. It's a gridlock over there. How many of you have gone down that road during school time? You can't even move. It literally takes you, it's all the way from 41 past, all the way down the Klein and beyond, even with the light. You can't move. Nothing was prepared. You guys should have been proactive if you wanted to build. All I know is I told him, you're retiring in a little while. We just need to start getting ready and move because he's frustrated now because it takes him from where Tiburon is 2:30, almost 20 minutes sometimes just to get there. And there's no lights there. It's just traffic. So I just told him, I said, we just need to prepare and start getting ready to move because I'm so glad my kids are done, but I see a few of you people are younger, probably have kids. You're going to have fun. That's all I have to say. You're going to have fun with your kid being in class 40 to 45 students with no aides. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to come up and speak regarding the Park West proposal? Second call. Third and final call. And with that, public comment is closed. Mr. Hill, come on back up.
I suppose at this time I will take any questions from the Plan Commission, so if anybody has anything or questions I can answer, I would be happy to do so. The proposal is fairly straightforward. It's a small project, not much impact on anything, so if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
When you say it's not impacting anything, what do you mean by that? It's a small project, not.
It's a small
impact-
project, meaning that it's going to have minimal impact on traffic, minimal impact on the schools, minimal impact on the area. I know that the adjacent property owner, Brad, is happy to see this. He's building commercial there. So there'll be more people to go to his commercial, whatever his establishments are on that. So, but as far as developments go, my point is that it's smaller than a lot of the developments that come into the town.
But it
is what
adds.
the point.
But it adds to the congestion on the 231 and all those things that the public is talking about.
Well, I don't know that it adds to the congestion on 231. We're quite a ways away from where she's talking about. This lady was speaking about the gates, about Parrish and Klein specifically, where the roundabouts are going to go. And as we all know, those are controlled by NDOT. That has not the town. If it was up to the town of St. John, there would be a working traffic signal at Park Place and 231. That would have been installed in 2005 if the town was allowed to have their way. NDOT refused to allow the developer to install any traffic control devices. Absolutely refused, because I was here at the time.
Oh, you were
and
here at the
And I
time.
begged them to put that traffic signal in at Park Place and 231. The developer was willing to do it. NDOT refused to let him.
What year was this?
I mean, that really has nothing to do with what we're
No, I
talking
just
about
wanna know
tonight,
what year
but,
out of the
I
top of my
mean-
head. Please, what year was this?
about 2005.
2005, okay.
Just for the Plan Commission's point of reference, this blue parcel is the subject property. This over here is State Line Road. This is Calumet Avenue, and this is 101st Avenue. 109th is all the way down here, and then 231 doesn't start till over here. So you're looking at about approximately 4-ish miles, maybe, from the subject parcel to US 231.
Yeah, it's not gonna do anything.
But it is there, that's congestion too.
All right, anyone else, questions, comments?
One other, because I know her concern mainly was Lake Central. This is in Hanover Township, so if this development attracts any individuals with school-age children, they would likely end up going to Hanover schools.
South of the township line.
Correct.
Okay.
Great.
All right, good points. With that, I would entertain a motion to, I think this is for either favorable, unfavorable, or no recommendation to the town council to approve the planned unit development. Any motion should be styled to reference and incorporate the findings of fact.
So would we make a motion to change from a C2 to a PUD?
Yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion to favorable recommendation to the town council for a C2 district to a PUD district with the findings of facts.
Motion by Mr. Vogel, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Emshway. All in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Right. All set. With that, public hearing is closed on 2025-10 Park West. Agenda item 6, old and new business.
I'm sorry, was that 5-0? I
Oh,
didn't hear
I'm
it.
sorry, I didn't do any nays. Where was it? Let me clean that back up. All right, so all in favor, all in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Here,
Okay, so it is 5-1. Thank you, Billy.
no problem, just for the minutes.
Yeah. Clean it up. All right, old and new business, item A, 2025-04, Gates of St. John, units 32 through 40, proposed primary plat for a residential development located east of Blaine Street between 93rd Avenue and 101st Avenue. Mr. Kell.
Yes, it was, if you recall, last time I was here, the outstanding issues were almost always all engineering issues. There were quite a few. That has since been pared down to just a few, which are normal contingencies when you're looking at a primary plat. They mostly include the sanitary sewer, and what I mean by that is lift station and force main. So all of the pumps, they're still sizing the pumps. Gas Voda is the one who basically sizes all the pumps for the development based upon all the anticipated flow and all that. So that's one of the items in here that the review engineer, Adam, is indicating would be a condition of approval. So that is fairly typical of a project like this. Roadway cross-section, we got that taken care of. We know we need to apply for an NOI to IDEM. That's standard procedure. So that will be done as part of the development. We fixed, there's a slightly different curb and gutter detail. We're using the standard detail of the town. So that was one thing. And he indicates that 2x4s for a visual cue to locate service lines, just so you know, when all the property's developed, every single utility is located with a piece of wood. So when you're building a house, you know exactly where the water, the B-box, the sanitary is at and all that. So that's always done during the course of development. And I believe we still notch the curbs, right?
Yep.
John, don't we? And the curbs are notched too, so they know exactly where they're at. So all that stuff will be completed. So if you would consider approval tonight, which is what I'm requesting, it would just be to incorporate the engineer's letter, which there's only a few items left. And other than that, the engineering is pretty much complete.
Is the list better?
It is 6 items versus the initial 38 that we had. He's right. Quite a few of them are related to the sewer and the NOIs, and those are just as the sizing comes available, and others are part of as it gets developed.
Okay. Question, comments?
I've got some. So I apologize because I finally got a chance to sit down with the plans like last night. Pulled them up and just did some poking around so I could see like lot widths and everything. So I have a couple questions. The long road that goes from the north-south, it's 30 feet wide, meaning that's what, a 2-lane road, just one in each direction?
Should be 30-foot back-to-back a curb, yes.
Okay. How long is that road?
Oh, geez, I don't have the
Okay,
the actual lineal footage off the top of my head.
I'm just wondering what like the distance is, because I measured it on this plan and it's about
It's-
half a mile.
I was gonna say maybe half a mile, I'm gonna
About
say.
half a mile.
Somewhere in there, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know exactly, I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's a long road for a lot of people, and the last time we had a public hearing, there was a lot of mention about that. And I know that the ordinance says that every development has to have 2 entries at minimum, and because of where this is located, that's been provided. And I wonder just how much of that is still in the spirit of that, because we have some stuff that's stubbed out to what looks like unincorporated property. So that's just a concern that I have with that. Like, there's a lot of houses with one main thoroughfare. That's, these houses, I think it's about 25% of the original Gates. If I remember correctly, it's 600 homes.
The actual Gates has ended up over 3,000.
Well, yeah, but I'm just, the initial development, I'm saying.
Oh, the initial Gates, yes. I gotta go back in the Wayback Machine here, 1,650?
Yeah, something
I
like
wanna
that.
say something like that.
That sounds about
From
right,
back
yeah.
in- Yeah,
So
don't recall, yeah.
I guess what I'm getting to is that it seems like a dense development with one main thoroughfare, and I'm not a traffic engineer, so I don't know what the pressure is on that, but I really would like to find out what that would be.
Well, that's why I understand what you're saying, and that's why we're starting, if you look at the phasing, we're starting at 93rd and 101st. Because the traffic flow has got to split.
Right, has there been a traffic study performed on this?
We did not. When we annexed this in, we went through this with the town council, and they asked the same question, and they said, that's why I said we will phase it so that the traffic flow will be split on this project. Now, it's gonna take years and years, and we are working with the property owners. The actual property to the west is actually in town now. That was annexed into town. So when we did the total annexation, we annexed the Lake Central property into town as well.
Yeah.
The property to the east, there's only a couple parcels, to the east, there's a couple parcels there that we're working with the property owner. We're trying to buy the property around it, obviously. So that all these road stubs we have, they're stubbed for a reason. To get those, to improve the access and everything.
Yeah.
And we are working on that right now, just so you know.
Okay, great, because
Yes.
I know that St. John residents are very sensitive about their traffic. That's something I hear about a lot of the time. Even though there's a significant amount of this that is age-restricted housing, I still imagine there will be a lot of families there. And with one main thoroughfare and 600 homes, gets me a little nervous. So that's why I wondered if there was a traffic study done. Along with that, I did look at the lot widths. So it looks like the lot widths are about like 61 feet, 51 feet. The largest one was 61 feet.
That is accurate for the age-restricted housing. That's the reason, just so the Plan Commission knows, the reason that we have all of the entire north half of the development is age-restricted. That's what we were requested to do by the town council. They actually, well, not requested, I guess they demanded it. That was part of the annexation agreement. They wanted age-restricted housing because there is a call for it in the community. You have the other homes, but they actually required us to do age restricted.
Okay. Great. So, like, part of the reason I ask about that is because I know that the comprehensive master plan for the town does say, like, look, we have a significant population that this would be a good idea for, and that's great. And so I'm sympathetic to the idea of having diversity of housing, but when the majority is a kind of an attached single family and the rest are a 60-foot lot at most with, then when you have a 5-yard setback on either side, I think you're getting to a 50-foot house. You know, we have a lot of people come in here and they're like, what happened to the 100-foot lots? What happened to like this feel for the town? And so I just wanted to sort of bring that up and make that apparent. Lastly, so I went through, I don't have it with me, but I followed my daughter's advice and I colored in all the houses because it's a big plan. I wanted to see where everything was. And one thing I noticed, so we got a lot of detention ponds, we've got all that kind of stuff going on, but I didn't see a lot of green space or like any amenities or like parks or anything quite like that. And in a development of this size, I wonder what the thinking was to not put like a park or some kind of public area in.
Well, I guess I can tell you that the experience that we've had and that the town has had, especially with the age restricted product, those people just kind of, they just like a quiet little area. Parks are not a big thing with them. There's a couple parks we tried in some of the age restricted areas. We call them passive parks. They just get mowed. People hang out in their backyards. They don't want, remember, these homes right here and all these units, these are all maintenance free too. These people aren't mowing their grass. They're not trimming their bushes.
Yes.
They're not shoveling their snow. And if you look at the age restricted product we have now, the traffic in age restricted and in townhome areas is relatively light. You don't have a home where you have, 4 kids with 3 of them driving, mom and dad and everything. Typically, you don't have that with this type of product, almost never. I know that we have to do surveys because in age restricted, especially that this is an EDA 4, we are required to do surveys every 2 years to ensure that the people that are moving here actually meet our age restricted program that had to be written for this. And if you look at the survey results, and I can speak to the Orchard Sterling Gate age restricted area, this obviously hasn't been built yet. But I can tell you that you're required to maintain 80% 55 or older. We are looking at almost like a 98% 55, over 55.
So what percentage of this is age restricted then?
The entire north half of the lots that are 51, 61, those are the age restricted homes. I'm actually happy to say that I'm old enough now to move into age restricted. Or I'm
Excellent.
kind of unhappy to say that, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's a fairly extensive monitoring that has to be done here, and that monitoring has to take place for 25 years.
Yeah,
And that's on our back to do that. So that's how you ensure that the age restriction is met. Every 2 years, you have to survey all the people here. And at closing, they have to fill out a form and give the homeowner the age, who's living in the house, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, and
There's a little more to it than that, yeah.
well, you obviously know your numbers, and when I was looking at the master plan, I actually saw your name on there. I didn't realize that. The reason I bring this up is that with the combination of the roads and the, lack of distribution of like amenities and things that we've crucified other developers for here, it seems at odds with parts of the comprehensive master plan. And I'm just wondering if there's any accommodations that can be made to sort of address those, because as you said, there's not much cars because of townhomes and everything, but we also haven't done a traffic study. So
Right. We have not done a formal traffic study for this. but obviously we have everything built like this. So when you monitor that, there is no traffic issue that really spins off of a product like this. So we were never requested to do one. The town council felt that it was sufficient when we went through the annexation and did the annexation agreement.
When was the annexation done?
Last year.
Last year? Because wasn't there also one done in like 97 and 2017? There were two parts of it, I thought.
In 97, I was the town manager of Schererville.
Okay,
I wasn't in St. John yet.
yeah,
2017,
yeah,
in St. John, we've done, I used to do annexation one every other month. Dozens of them here in the town. I don't want to avoid the question, but I'm not exactly sure how to answer it because there were so many that were done.
The only reason I ask is because like I was trying to figure out that part, and I went online and looked at all the ordinances and everything because
Well, like,
insomnia.
I think the lady indicated earlier, when we did the east side annexation, that included all of Tiburon and everything over to Blaine and all that. That was like 2009, I believe. And so the town has a history, that's how the town grew, is by annexing property, because, I mean, I grew up here, when I was here, everything stopped at almost 101st Avenue, if I'm not mistaken, because the town didn't start annexing White Oak Manor, I guess. And the reason I know this because it was my bus route when I was a kid.
Yeah,
So that started when I was a kid in the 80s, and that trend just kept going for the town.
right. So I guess just to circle back to what I'm trying to get to is there are some features which are like spot on exactly which are in the comprehensive master plan. Diversity of housing, sort of age-restricted housing, that's great. I believe we totally need that. And then the other part was, harmonious traffic and everything. And because there has just the sheer size of this, I drove it the other day. I was actually pleasantly surprised by how large it was. I'm hesitant to make any decision until some kind of formal traffic study has been done. And is it within our power to even request that? Mr. Decker?
Well, so the short answer is yes. However, as I recall, this, right, as a planned unit development, this is zoned for PUD, which removes it from the traditional standards set forth for subdivision control. So I think, at this point, if the Plan Commission determined that as part of the approval of the plat and in reviewing the standards of the town, and I'm gonna elaborate on this. So there's a process for the approval of a planned unit development. That's already been completed. Now we're simply reviewing what has been submitted to determine if it complies with our subdivision control ordinance. It's essentially the approval of the subdivision.
Yes.
And so at this point, the subdivision control ordinance, I'd have to review it, but does have provisions for traffic, and the Plan Commission has required studies for approval of subdivision plats in the past. So I do think the Plan Commission has that authority to, if it were so inclined, to do so. However, from a legal standpoint, if the application meets the standards of our subdivision control ordinance as presented, then it becomes a ministerial decision.
Yes.
There's no discretion on the part of the Plan Commission to deny the application if in fact meets all of the subdivision control standards. And so the Plan Commission has to rely on staff, has to rely on the engineer's review to determine whether or not what's been submitted, the plans and specifications, whether those comply with our standards. And
Right.
so,
The other PUDs that have come before us, when we were part of that process, we were able to ask these questions and push back and do things like that, but this has come to us in a different route
Yes, and
because of the annexation agreement.
right.
That point is correct, Mr. Chair, in that the Plan Commission did not review the zone change because this was never previously part of the town of St. John, so there was no change in zone. It was incorporated as such as part of the annexation. So the stage at which the Plan Commission could have certainly reviewed traffic and studies in conformance with the standards in our zoning ordinance for PUD were not available to the Plan Commission, or was not available to the Plan Commission for this particular subdivision.
Okay, and I wonder why would that be the case? Is, I guess, is my other question. Like, if, we have a Plan Commission and a zoning board that is meant to help administer all of that, and then there is a way of hopping that and using an annexation going to the town council so that it can be approved. Well, I guess I should.
Well, the town council.
You were the town manager then, right?
I guess I could answer. The town
Yeah, so
council
why-
has
what- yeah, what was the decision like?
sole authority under state statute
Mm-hmm.
for annexations. And we are, at this point right now, when I go to the Plan Commission, I am obliged to meet the land plan that was approved by the town council during the annexation. But to answer your question directly, the Plan Commission, under Indiana's law, has no jurisdiction over the annexation of property to the town. That's the easiest way to answer your question.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been that way that's how the statute's been as long as I've been looking at it for 30 years now. So, but I guess that's the easiest way to answer it, is
Yeah,
that.
that's what I was
It's a
trying to get.
legislative function, meaning it's a town council function under the statute.
Right, yeah,
That's what I think Adam was saying. At this point, I'm obliged to follow what the town council approved right now as far as the land plan and stuff like that. That was laid out during annexation, and that was specifically made a part of the annexation that says, Steve, you are going to build these type of units, which they approved what was going to be built. That's part of the PUD. So I had to supply them with elevations of units, square footages, size, the whole 9 yards to get that. And they said, you're going to build this land plan. And this is going to be age restricted, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I'm obliged to follow that, which was established by the town council.
Because assuming, for argument's sake, that this piece of property was already within the corporate limits of St. John, and you were trying to get it changed to a PUD, they would have been before us.
Yes.
And we would have been through that process.
That is
and we would
accurate,
have done
yes.
all those, taken all those steps, answered those, asked those questions, made sure everything was squared away. And even then, that would be either a recommendation, favorable or unfavorable, or none, to the town council for them to exercise their legislative authority to change that zoning. The zoning came in with the annexation, so it's not that they skipped us, that's just because it was a new parcel that was added to the town of St. John. So, we're here for primary plat, too.
The zoning's over, the zoning's long.
I'm aware that the zoning
But
has
just so
been-
you know, during annexations, it's not a plan commission plating function, it's a legislative function of the town council.
Yeah, and
That's-
the reason that I guess I'm asking this is because there were a number of people, as I'm sure you recall in the last meeting, who were like, how is this possible? And I'm not saying that there was evil works afoot. I'm not trying to say that at all.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm just more of like, for my own edification, as well as just to get it out on the record as to how the process works. So I thank you. I appreciate that.
And I guess for future, if you have questions from audience members, it's good to have the answer. Say, hey, that's a legislative function of the town council. At least I get it. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and I'm not an attorney. I'm far from it. So forgive my questions.
No, no,
Sorry.
And let me just conclude it by just citing to provision of the subdivision control ordinance. This is found at section 21A 57 of the municipal code. In reviewing the design standards and the layout of the subdivision, the Plan Commission shall pay particular attention to the anticipated additional volume of traffic thereon. And if the Plan Commission deems it necessary, it shall require the developer to provide a traffic study prepared by a professional engineer addressing the anticipated increase in traffic volume. Such traffic study shall be paid for by the subdivider or the developer. So the Plan Commission does have that authority even at this stage, as far as Plan Commission and plat review. But it would have to make a determination, I think, that whatever has been submitted warrants that. If the, I don't think there's been traffic counts or, anything submitted. I haven't read the application. I don't know what materials have been submitted. So the Plan Commission should rely on staff for that. But it does authorize the Plan Commission to require the traffic study.
Okay. And I know I'm asking you this on the spot, or I'm pushing it out on the spot. What is the precedent for that kind of stuff? Like, what other situations has that occurred in which a traffic study has been required? Tons of roundabouts.
Since I've been with the town,
Yeah.
the only traffic impact study that has been asked for and/or submitted with any petition has been one that they need to get a driveway permit from Lake County, because since I've been with the town, it's not been asked of any developer as of yet.
How long have you been?
I had my year anniversary earlier this month.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Congratulations, by the way. Okay, cool. Thank you very much
How
for.
about before that? Do we know?
Well, I guess I could tell you, they're typically required when you're going to access the state highway, like especially if you're
Oh,
going
for
to do
state highways,
41 or
okay. Highway, yeah.
231 or 41. The only reason that NDOT didn't require anything when we came in for where Unit 30, 29, 30, 31 were, because NDOT already did the traffic study on that section of Route 231. They knew they were putting roundabouts in, they knew what the traffic counts were, and we didn't ask for a full access cut onto 231. So in that instance, they didn't require one. But if you were going to build somewhere and require a full access cut, then they would want to know if, for instance, a development doing in Hebron, there's a half a mile passing blister has to be put in. There's left-hand turn lanes. It was on 231, and we were required to look at that. And then NDOT made a determination. So that's typically when you're on a high-volume road like, state highway or something. That's when we typically required them. Just a little history, that's all.
Okay, great. History is what I'm looking for. I think that's everything I had. I just wanted to make sure that, I've been told time and time again that my job here is to make sure that, these subdivisions are also in line with the comprehensive master plan. And I know our jurisdictionally, it's, we don't have much, but just trying to make sure that the development aligns with those.
Thank you. Questions? Anyone else? No? With that, I think we would entertain a motion for approval of primary plat for 2025-04, the Gates of St. John, units 32 through 40.
If so made, please include Adam McAlpine's engineering letter dated May 15th, 2025, that any and all conditional, that it's a conditional approval meeting all requirements outlined in his letter.
Duly noted.
I mean, I just talked for 20 minutes. I figure somebody had to say something.
Second call, is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the primary plat for the Gates of St. John, units 32 to 40, with the findings of fact.
And in referencing
The letter.
McAlpine's.
And
May 15.
referencing Adam McAlpine's engineering letter dated May 15, 2025, that all outstanding engineering items be completed.
All right, motion by Ms. Abernathy. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Vogel. All in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Primary plat is approved by 5-1. Thank you, Mr. Kell.
Thank
Item
you.
B,
Everybody have a
consider-
good night.
Consider performance letter of credit for Shops at the Gates, Lot 1.
So, as the Plan Commission can remember, earlier this year, we had the subdivision for the Shops at the Gates and a letter of credit required for the site plan for Lot 1. That was part of their conditional approval. As such, they have submitted a letter of credit in the amount of $609,400. I'm looking for a recommendation to accept to the town council.
Town's okay with that number?
That matches the number that was on John Dykstra's engineering letter from the site plan.
Sorry, I didn't want to leave you out.
Oh, no, it's okay. I think, was it like February-ish?
February-ish, March-ish, somewhere in
Something.
there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, is there a motion for recommendation to the town council?
What was the total amount again?
$609,400.
I'll make a motion to ask the town council to accept the performance letter of credit for $609,400 for the Shops at the Gates, Lot 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gill, second by Mr. Vogel. All in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is 6-0. Agenda item number 7, request to publish item A, 2025-09, Grace Church NWI subdivision, proposed primary plat and site plan for a proposed ministry center to be located at 13809 West 109th, Cedar Lake, Indiana, Grace Church. Mr. Huss, good evening.
Good evening. Tonight, real simple procedure. Tonight, we're here requesting permission to advertise for our primary plat public hearing to be held about a month from now on June 18th. 2 weeks ago, I was before you to provide a general status update. Since then, we returned an updated primary plat to Engineer Dykstra addressing the few comments he had, and on the 14th of this month, he did provide a letter stating that the updated primary plat is, in his opinion, sufficient to proceed with the public hearing. If I could beg just a few more seconds of your time. Aside from that, we've been holding off, as we discussed 2 weeks ago, resubmittal of the engineering for this project, not because any changes are being made, but because we're trying to tie down as few loose ends and save any contingent motions. One of them, and the most important, is we have a meeting with Lake County Highway Department and the town's planning staff next week to hopefully hash out the final location of the driveway, which in the church's opinion would be where it is, but our intent is, as soon as that meeting's over, to more or less immediately resubmit engineering so that everything will still be very much tidied up for what is hopeful approval in July. And then the builder is pricing the project, so hopefully we get the estimate tied up for all the town's fee estimates. But with that, I'm happy to answer questions as always, but otherwise would appreciate a motion to approve our request to advertise.
You just said July. Are you looking for June or July?
No, we'd have our primary plat hearing in June, and then ideally the secondary and site would come in July.
All right, questions, comments? Is there a motion in response to the applicant's request to publish?
I'll make a motion to accept the publication of Grace Church.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Vogel, second by Ms. Abernathy. All in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We will see you back on that one.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Have a good night. Item B, 2025-11, Castle Rock Phase 3, proposed primary plat for a residential development located off of 86th Place at the northwest corner of the town of St. John, along the town's boundary lines. Mr. Reddick, good evening.
Good evening, Doug Reddick with DVG, representing Andy James, the developer of Castle Rock. We are here for the third phase of Castle Rock. I presented it 2 weeks ago at the study session. We've had some plat comments regarding the primary plat, which we are addressing right now. Mr. Dykstra is reviewing the engineering right now. We believe everything is in order for a public hearing next month, and we're here tonight to request permission to advertise for that public hearing. We will also be back in approximately 2 weeks for the next study session, in case any other questions arise in the meantime, but right now I think we're on track.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask, if you want to come back for the study session, but then,
We're fine with that.
All right, is there a motion to grant the request to publish for June?
I'll make a motion to grant request to publish for June.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Emschweiss, second by Mr. Gomsegel. All in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
That is 6-0. That will conclude all old and new business. Agenda item number 8, any public comment?
Thank you very much.
Thanks, have a good night. No public comment? Agenda item number 9, adjournment. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.